Hey guys, it's Mark here. This is a different video than I usually do, but I'm sure it could help a lot of you out. It is 10 useful staking tips for dim summon tanks, and what I'm going to go over are some are fairly obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people I see making these mistakes, and also some neat tips in not only how to get more stakes, but also how to win them against tougher opponents than yourself. So, yeah, without further ado, here are the 10 useful staking tips for SummonTanks. Alright, so tip number 1 is da-da-da, better safe than sorry. And what I mean by that, and yes, I'm Canadian, I say sorry, not sorry, is always have extra pouches. You may get caught up in the heat of the staking, you may be winning, challenging someone again and again and again, but if you run out of your pouches, you are fucked. And I have so many friends, and personally to me, that it has happened to, and you don't notice that you're out of pouches, and then you literally fuck yourself over. So be careful and do not do that. Tip number 2. Beware of armor boxers or anti-sum tanks, and once again, I'm Canadian, I spell armor O-U-R. As you can see in this video, the Spirit Seeky only requires 22 summoning and it hits right through your armor. Like, I'm having a hard enough time hitting it with my Rune Minnow. So yeah, beware of them. If people stake you with all armor on, then it's usually this trap. Alright guys, here's tip number 3 and also one of my favorites. Use your head. And now you're thinking, what do you mean use your head? Well, if you want to stake someone and try to convince them to stake you by showing that you have an empty inventory like I do now, so then they'll finally accept, they'll see that you have nothing in your inventory, they'll stake you. But how am I going to win with just an Iron Titan and no spec against a level 78 with the whip? Well, you will find out. What you do is there are specific helms, get it, using your head, that if you right click it, uncharge, you see that I could store scrolls in it. And a lot of people don't even know that these lizard skulls or the other antlers or other types of items can store scrolls, which can really trick them. Huh. Tip number 4 is a very common question I get asked. When do you use a Minotaur or a Titan in a stake? Well, a Titan you're going to want to use when it's more boxing and fist fighting. But when it comes to allowing your opponent to use a weapon, as you can see, this guy Jungles has his Dragon Scimitar, and he starts whacking me. But look at this. The Minotaur's ability to stun really does help because it gives you so many extra hits. So this guy Jungles, he's going to see that he's losing, and he's going to switch to his Rapier. Right here. Look at this. I actually found the stake amazing. So check it out. I'm hitting him, getting that stun, and he's poking the shit out of me with that little stick. And he hits a 276, hits me down to 73 hit points, but I get the stun. My spec recharges just in time. He poked me a 63 down to 11 hit points, and the last stun kills him. I wouldn't have been able to do that with a Titan. Tip number 5 was also used in the previous tip, so I'll use another clip. Be a coward. And that means the famous stun and run. So as you could see from the clip I just showed you, look how far away I run. I run just to the range where I could stun him. And see, even that fraction of a second that it takes him to run to come back and hit me, in the end of a stake, that really adds up. That adds up to maybe 2 extra free hits or so. And when you're staking, 1 to 2 free hits can mean the entire difference of the stake, as you can see with me here. Now for tip number 6, which is set favorite rules. Now that Jagex updated the duel arena so you could set a favorite rules, use it. Never start a stake by clicking your own rules from scratch, because people will see you click summoning like a torch in the middle of a dark forest. Terrible analogy, but still you get the point. Now for tip number 7, don't be a show-off. There is no better way to not get any stakes than to dress like a rich noob. If I'm wearing my skill capes and full bandos with the DFS, and I'm just chilling here, people see I'm rich. But how do I get rich? Oh, from winning stakes! So even if you're disguised as a pure, don't wear expensive shit because you will not get a stake. Alright, so for tip number 8, which is the most common mistake I see, is don't spam the Minotaur spec in a stake. It will only slow you down. So as you can see in this stake, just try to pay attention to the timing between specs. There is a set amount of time between a spec that you could do, and if you just spam it, you might miss that cue when the spec can come back on. As you can see here, see that delay right there? In between that, like right when I said see that, that was longer than normal. So with a little bit of practice, you could get that timing perfect and be able to get as many hits possible in your stakes. Tip number 9. Forfeit door hugging. This is really important or useful when staking kayaters. So see if the kayat's on me, I'm standing on one side of the forfeit door. Boom, run to the other side. Hey, it's stuck, and my titan is still attacking him. And he comes back. He specs again, which calls the kayat, and hello, other side. Hee hee. So it really makes it so pathetically easy to stake kayaters, especially people that don't even know to use them that well, which is majority of them. So yeah, enjoy that tip. Final tip, which is also important. Dismiss that fucker. If you're done a stake, you want to dismiss it right away. Get on the following tab and right-click the dismiss button, which will dismiss it right now. The new update Jagex did also made duels end much faster, so you gotta really be on the ball. If an account sees you spawn back in the duel arena lobby with your Rune, Myth, Addy, Minnow, Iron Titan, they will either be one of two things. A, really discouraged and never fight you because they saw what you have and their expectations have been exceeded, so you have a better thing that they expect. Or they see that your Minotaur is worse than they think, and then you will get a stake of someone that is a lot better than you. And unless you're high-scoring people, which you should always do, then you might lose a lot of money. So always dismiss and keep yourself a mystery to other people. Alright guys, so those were the 10 useful staking tips for SummonTanks, and I really hope that they helped you out. Whichever one was your favorite tip, leave it in the comments because I'm actually curious to what you guys did or didn't know. And also, depending on how many likes I get or the response, I'll probably make another tip video, and I could just keep making more and more of them, so you can all become pro stakers. So thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I love you all. Yar!